I got a little bit of breakbeat in here. Drop us a little bit later. So okay, I mean, overall, it's a bit like this. The other track, it's the same artist. It's already mixed quite cool. Now it needs some extra touch. And as mentioned in my last mixdown session, when I was listening to A/B to what I did to the mixdown of the first track on my couch at home on my shittiest headphones, the result was not so mind-blowing, I would say. But this is quite normal, because if you receive an already good mixed and balanced track, then you just put a portion of like 10, 15, maybe maximum 20% on quality on top of it. It's not that much. Sometimes it's just like 3%. It always depends on how good is the mix before. It's always very, very cool to have someone else to look over what you did before. It is pretty hard to mix your own music to a 100% level, because you're deep in the mix. You might have listened to it a million of times. You get so used to, and you're struggling, and this is all normal. So as I mentioned before, it's important to take your time in between. Maybe a day, maybe a week, maybe it takes a year to finish a track sometimes. This is always like not working in the studio every day on a track. This is always bad for, at some point this is like destroying everything, but to step back for a while. Sometimes you're discovering an old layout from back in the days, and you are rediscovering it, and immediately you understand what's wrong with mixing. Sometimes you have an idea, okay, what's the problem with the arrangement? What's the problem with the melody? Cut the singer off, whatever. So time can bring you some wisdom. And it's the same with like the first impression of something. So I had a first listen through the track, and now I'm going through my notes. First of all, the kick was not so, I would say, up in the front. It was not pushy, and it was not the way it should be. This is most of the time a problem, and this is most of the time one of the first steps I do when it comes to mixing. In this case, I would not change it here in a very early stage, because this comes with the compression later on with some other treatments. I had the feeling that overall the drums and the percussions sounding a little bit loose when it comes to stereo placement. I had the feeling that everything could be more like focused, more in the middle, a bit more like, yeah, I would say tight in a way. I think in the end this is like a mix between like stereo placement and compression and EQing. So we will go through this later on. Then I had the feeling that the hi-hat shaker was a little bit too sharp, will be part of the EQing. First EQing steps. I had the feeling that overall stereo seemed a bit random and not placed so well, and there were a few pad moments, they sounded a little bit resonant. And this breakbeat session part in the end felt a little bit too loud. So these were my first impressions. I take them, and now I go through the track. And like always, I start with like an EQing going through. And therefore, I'm checking the first stem here. It's the drones. Let's see. I need to raise the volume of my headphones a little bit. I think these were not the drones becoming too loud or resonant at some point. For my first impression, they are fine. Actually, it's a whole group I'm listening right now. So let's get on. Everything is well organized here. Like there's a drum group, there's a texture group, and there's this reference track. I don't want to listen yet. Let's go through those instruments before. I just need to understand how that grouping works here. Okay, there's a background group. It's called background stuff. It seems to include all the pads here. I see. Yeah, and then I have in the same instrument group here, I have the kalimba going on. Oh, it's just a short moment. Not so important. As I described in my last session, I'm looking for the most important elements, which I always start to mix and to focus on and maybe check for some problems. So the melody here seems very important. And it has like a reverse melody in here as well. So let's have a little check. When it comes to EQing, I prefer working with the FabFilter Pro Q. It has everything an EQ has. It has basically everything the Ableton EQ has. I like to work with this because I like the visual presentation is better. Sound-wise, we can discuss if it's sounding better or not. I like it. It has a lot of nice extra features like side chaining options, and even like the stereo MS is very good and helpful, and I like it a lot. And I'm already here starting to cutting off some low end, which is going on here, which we basically don't need. I'm just forwarding to, I'm just forwarding. Damn, it's so early in the morning. I'm still a little bit Homer Simpson style. That seems good for me so far. It seems to be a bit resonant in this area here. For now, but I won't touch too much. Just a little bit cleaning when it comes to the low. And then we have this little ref reversed here. Too little to focus on it on that early stage. There we have a string going on here. Yeah, I think this was one of the a bit hurtful parts. You can hear that? It's like, ooh. Everything sounds so smooth, and then there's like these high frequencies standing out like shark teeth. Let's have a look. Pro Q is my friend. Just making sure that I'm in the right stem. Yeah, it's just the strings here. Oh no, there's another one. There's another stem which makes it so harsh. Let's have a look. It's definitely not the bass. Now I'm awake. Can't spot it right now. Must be in the background stuff. Yeah, it is. Okay. So I was wrong. Just solo the strings again and see what else. It's still a bit resonant here. Here around here. I have the feeling even here. Like these little changes I'm doing right now, they do not hurt. because this is, you see here, it's -2 dB. It's not that much. It's just a very, very first step coming from my visual impression, coming from my belly feeling. I'm just checking like the basics here now. Like the low end is fine. There's not a lot like disturbing stuff. I'm just checking from which point it is needful in the low end. So it starts here, like cutting it a little bit, so there's no surprises in the low end. Going on quick, because this should be like a very quick walkthrough and not becoming too detailed, because you can do like mistakes in the beginning when you start like making like strong EQ curves and subtracting frequencies and stuff, and then you're like having stuff on solo and they switch it on and actually you don't know what happened. So you need to start like slowly, and this is the first walkthrough, EQ cleaning, looking what was obvious and my first listening, and then having a preparation for the next steps. It's interesting here that the violin seems to have some percussions within. Maybe it's a sample or something. Okay, this is the instrument. Another reversed thing, not so important for now, seems to be fine. The kalimba has not been checked really by me, so Pro Q on. The Pro Q is good because it gives you like the analyzer, and you can immediately start like manipulating it, adding or subtracting. Yeah, a lot of stereo on the kalimba. No weird frequencies here so far. No low end, which is running crazy, whatever. Leave it like this. EQ is there. It's doing nothing right now. Don't wait here for too long. Strings, stem, violin, synths, ref, solo. Vocals. The vocals are within the main instrument group. I mostly have my vocals in its very own group. And I will do that now. I will just group the vocals here just for the overview. I guess the vocals are coming here. Now. There she is. There's a little like percussion vocal snippet thing here. Potentially I heard that there might be some low end to clean, or might be some high end whatever noise when samples are cutted or processed. Then problems can show up. So if everything is processed strongly, then I'm trying to check the waveform and check the sample if problems appearing, like even clicks or something. But this seems to be okay. See, I'm checking this here right now. No. It's definitely some kind of like cut, sample, looped, whatever, and there like shady things are going to happen sometimes when it comes to frequencies. But everything's fine here. Moving on, having a vocal group. I already noticed that there's a lot of stereo options are possible. I have another one here, is Jet FX. It's just another ambient sample. As I described and told you in my last lesson, it's like when you have Foleys, field recordings outside, they have a full frequency spectrum. That means they could show up with like crazy low end and crazy high end as well. So you need to clean those shit. See here? This is an airplane. and it gives you frequencies around 70 hertz. This is not necessary, you know. It's already like some kind of a low cut on here. Might be maybe the recorder which was used for the field recording. But we do not need that much of this low end, so I will already clean it a little bit. You hear this? Is like it's making too much mud. It is my personal experience. There might be tracks using that low end when it comes to experimental music, when it comes to ambient, when it comes to some kind of techno, whatever. Then those frequencies might have a tonal meaning, an artistic meaning, and a physical usage in a track. But here in this music, you know, it's very melodic. It needs clear tones in the low end. It needs space. It needs to breathe. So it's not necessary. So I will, like, even if I'm not comparing it with the whole track now yet, I would decide to cut this off. I do like a little listen here. If I spot a difference with or without the EQ, this is without. Okay, once more, without the EQ. For my taste, it takes, this little low end takes too much attention. The singer is in the middle, the singer is in the front, and everyone wants to listen to the singer and not to a jet starting around it, for my kind of feeling. It's not distracting any kind of like drums, it's not distracting any kind of bass in this case, which could have been the case when it was used in a different position in the track. But here, I do not want this low end or beneath 300 hertz in my mix. Made the decision. The artist might hate me now. I think it's not a very big step. So now, important things now. We have the bass here. And I did not... Okay, I'm just listening to it. I had the feeling that the bass could be a bit more warm and more in the front. So let's play the bass together with the kick drum for a little moment and just make that a... I'm not very fast this morning. I hope I will make it under 3 hours now. To your pleasures. So I try to just listen to the important elements of the track: kick drum, bass, and yeah, anything which is keeping the track interesting. It's definitely this melody. I'm switching off reverse melody. I'm switching off this other reverse, the synth solo, the violin, the string part. The pads here seem to be important. See, they are going through most of the track. Switching them off, on. There. those are the pads. These are the pads I meant in the beginning. They are like, they're too resonant. I will fix this right now. They sound like glass fibers. Cycling it. Ooh. Okay, here, watch dB subtracting, taking off 6 dB. A noticeable change. Not world changing, I would say. But this frequency here. Crazy EQ changes in the high hand will always have phasing problems. The best thing is to have everything sounding perfect without doing anything. So if I have like specific frequencies here, I try to do like a sharp curve here. If I have the feeling overall some high end is too much, then I try to make a smoother curve. Getting some low end here as well. Okay. Still too much. Okay, make it -8. Even here. Jesus. I'm really slow today. And my computer too. Tells me what the fuck. This is a very nasty frequency here. You know what? I will take another EQ. And we'll do like a more soft curve here. When I'm listening, I'm comparing those high peaks. When they have the maximum amplitude, they should just kiss the loudness of the other elements in the mix. Yeah, and this is some kind of like listening feeling. Of course, I have a lot of like analyzing visually here, but in the end, it's my ears. And I am feeling quite comfortable now. I mean, this frequency will stay nasty, but if it's not that loud and if it's under a certain level, then it's a nasty one, but it's a very small one, and then it articulates its character in a pleasant way, I would say. So keep on listening here. Okay, anything else? Okay, the breakbeat I will take care of later on. So we are still in this first phase of sorting, EQing, following my first impressions of the first listening, and following my first impression of the visual things, of the things I see in the arrangement, and analyzing those kinds of tracks and stems. Here we have like this texture stem here, which is like crackles and ambience. I'm just soloing it. It's like some people add this to their mix to sound more analog. It is the same here. It presents a lot of low end. I don't want that. I cut this and leave it running. I did this in the whole group. I think this is fine. When it comes to EQing now, I get more detailed when I go through the whole drum group. But next step is treating the drum, the kick, and the bass. When I'm mixing the kick and the bass, then I mostly have the main element going and playing to place everything right. When it comes to the main element, I described this in the first part of this mixing course on the other track. I need to find out what are the main elements of a track, what are the most entertaining elements of the track. So basically, what elements can be switched off and the track is still displaying its idea. And there's a little trick I like to do. It's like when I first listen to a track, afterwards I write down what elements kept in my mind. In this case, it's like, of course, there was this long bass, there was this kick drum. You know, I'm a DJ, so the kick drum and the bass is always most important. So I'm focusing on it. And on top, there was this da 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 da. It was this melody, and this stayed in my mind. The rest was kind of like, okay, there was some breakbeat in the end, and okay. So I tried to find this element here. It was the melody, I think. Yeah. Switching on the kick as well. This is a break now. Yeah, this is pretty much what I remember after I listened to the track the first time. So these elements must be the most important elements, so I'm focusing on them. That's why even if I just do the kick and the bass now, I'm listening to all of them, because in this case, a very good example, because the main melodic element has a lot of low end, which is important, because when I decide how much low end the kick should have, how much low end the bass should have, then it's of course important how much low end the main elements, the main melodic elements come along. Yeah, the kick sounds a bit alone. Let's see. I have already put an IQ analyzer on. The IQ analyzer is my favorite analyzer. I actually prefer it to the analyzer of Ableton Live because it's more precise. It has this little keyboard here. The keyboard is very useful when you try to find out the notes fitting into your mix, like when it comes to kick drum tuning. When you don't know your harmony and stuff like this, you easily this is wrong. This fits. It's a G kick drum, and I guess it is a G kick drum, a G1 kick drum. It's a kick drum which is 49 Hertz. So I keep this in mind, because when I check the bass here, having an Pro Q, I mean, when it comes to analyzing, the EQ has the analyzer within, but I like the IQ analyzer a bit more for kick drums, because it has this little scale. It's a bit more precise, has some more little features I like, and yeah, that's why. The bass could be a bit more, yeah, strong in a way. When it comes to frequency, I'm trying to dip it a little bit here at 49 Hertz, but there's a lot of 49 Hertz going on. I don't want to take too much, but let's see what happens when I'm dipping the bass a little bit in the frequency of the kick drum. Yeah, that's the bass. It's missing a little bit. Just do a 3 dB dip. A little homeopathic. But then I would like to add some overdrive to it. I use the overdrive of Ableton a lot. It basically takes a little bit of low, but just a little bit. Like you see here, it's like it's nothing, but it gives a little extra. I like it. I use it a lot. My little dirty secret. And then I would like to have some compression. When it comes to compressing things, I would start with a kick drum basically. Where's my kick drum? Within the group. For kick drum compression, I prefer the classic 1176 Universal Audio. It's basic. Basically, I have two kinds of compressors. It's the 2A LA2A we will use later on. It's more for vocals. It's more for pads and for my taste. For the kick drum, I like this guy because it's, in my opinion, better for like short attacks and more percussive stuff. I have a replica here in my studio, an external one as well. No money for the originals. And but this plugin here from Universal Audio does an amazing job. Attack 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock-ish, like this. Like this is the ratio when it comes to 20. It's very strong, and it has the same, like the trick when you push all of them with shift, then it's compressing it to hell. It's sometimes if you need like a radical move, then you can use this. I won't use it for kick drums here. The softer the music, the less dramatic steps you do, I would say. This takes a lot already. See, it's already taking a lot of like low end. We don't want this. I'm gain staging now, like comparing with and without compressing. You hear, it's the gain reduction is minus 3 dB. It's not the world. A, B, off. A little less volume to compare. To gain stage, I'll solo it for you. Still a bit louder. Now it's gain staged. Bit more compression, going up to -6. Reducing everything. -6 gains, -6 gain reduction like this, and then pumping it up +6 dB to the same level. This is what I'm matching right now to have the comparison I need. You see here when I'm switching this on, it's louder. I mean, the peak is louder, the level is louder, so I have to take off a little bit. I'm watching my level meter here as well. Yeah, when it's switched on, the kick drum is a bit more punchy, has a bit more drive. This is what I was looking for. So I have my AQ analyzer still here. I will do the same dirty stuff. Let's make some cover, guys. No, the same dirty move here with just a slight overdrive. When I use my outboard gear, I have the 1176 compressor. I have like a replica by Clark Audio, recommendable, and I'm using the Electron Heat, and I use this for a little bit of saturation as well. So I have the same chain outboard when I'm working, which gives me a little bit more power. But you know, this digital and outboard and onboard and whatever discussion, you can have like crazy good results with everything. Sometimes it just needs a little bit more of work and sweat, but you have time, guys, huh? You have time. I'm the funny leader here today. I like it, what I did. Maybe a bit too much overtones now, the kick drum. I'm going through kick drum to see what frequencies I like and what not. The kick drum still needs some space, which is time for the sidechain. I use the normal Ableton compressor to do the sidechain. You can use the volume shaper box as well if you don't want to have compression like a compressor, because the compressor is shaping somehow the sound. The volume shaper is not. It's a matter of taste. Thank you. Sorry. It's a matter of taste, and I don't know. Sometimes I use this, sometimes I use that. It always depends on what it is. If I have, for example, like a bass guitar, then I rather go with the volume shaper. If I have an electronic bass, I go for this. Important. check the tempo of your track. In this case, it is 123 BPM. I use 164 or 63 milliseconds for my sidechain. It is a dotted eighth note when it comes to tempo relation to my 123 BPM. I think you can also use 124 as a release time. I think these are quarter notes. I have good experience with 163 on 123 BPM. No, 164, excuse me. But this doesn't matter actually, these little changes. It's just my recommendation and my workflow. I work a lot on 123 when it comes to making music, my own music. So sidechain, kick drum, kick drum, kick drum, kick drum. So ducking the bass a little bit. And doing some compression on the bass as well. Therefore I would try to use the same compressor. Little AB too. It's important when it comes to bass mixing that all the bass tones having the same kind of level. Sometimes a bass note is standing out and another bass tone is going down or disappearing in the mix. When I'm listening to the unmixed track, the last tone is standing out a little. Yeah, let's see. Sometimes, like when you have like a not well treated room, then a certain bass frequency is standing out because your room is resonating on that frequency. This is a trap. But I have my headphones here right now and I can hear it, and I have the feeling that this note stands out a little, and I'm just checking what note it is when I'm just analyzing. Yeah, here it's not. I can't see it properly. That's why my Hofer analyzer is the shit. Just putting it here, and now I see it is a C. A lot of C here. The C is on a little lower than G, of course. It's on 60. Oh no, it's a higher C. So it's on 65 Hertz. 65 Hertz on the bass. No, I don't want this co-shelf. Making me a little here, so 60. There's a tone. Ooh. Just reducing it a very little here. Okay, now I'm switching off the melody. I feel like the kick and the bass could be a little louder overall in comparison to the melody, but that doesn't matter now. I think the kick drum still can have a little bit more punch. Sometimes it's worth to just change the EQ before or after the compressor and see what's going on. I rarely push low end of my kick drums. I have to say, most of the time I'm taking off frequencies. But in this case, I want a little bit more. And the bass could now be a little bit less. So let's switch everything on right now and have a reference like A/B comparison when everything is switched on. Then I can do the main level of kick and bass. It's a bit hard to judge now because, you know, I did not put my hands on the shakers. It's so hard. I'm having my screen zoom on 140% now. Basically I work on 100 or less than this to have everything here, and everything is so big, and I'm navigating a little bit slower than usual. Yeah, I have more volume of kick and bass in my unmixed track than here. That is not so good, but that is because I did compression here. I can now raise it a little bit here. A little less. Where's the bass? Where's the bass? Comparison, unmixed track. I don't know if you can hear it through your headphones, but the first note is presenting too much low end of the bass. I fixed that with the EQ. So, old version listening right now, new version. Just follow the bass. All bass notes are presented the same level. I go back to the unmixed version. You see there's more dynamic in the bass, and the compression and my little EQ tweaks make everything a bit more like straight. And then, and even the sidechain is doing its job. Maybe I can give a little bit more punch on the kick drum. I'm still want the kick drum more to be kick drum, and this is the final last step I do on the kick drum is I use another EQ, which is the Legacy Pultec. It's a digital VST copy of that legendary Baltic EQ. I'm boosting. I'm adding at the same time bandwidth to like 7 like this. It's a trick. Actually, I don't know if anyone understands what's going on inside this little EQ, but it always brings in something which is good. Boosting and adding at the same time means like pushing and taking away at the same time, but those two parameters not working the same way, so they doing something, and it's good. Pushing it. And I have to say, when I'm boosting or adding frequencies, high or low, the Baltic EQ is amazing. It's easy to handle. This is like the hertz. Now we're dealing with like 100 hertz. Yeah, you can compare. This is really hard to spot if you have shitty headphones. I want that punch. You hear the difference? It's just a little bit more. I mean, 20 hertz is insane because no one is really able to hear that. I think that's it for now. Kick and bass. So let's go through the percussions, through the drums. I'm doing the cleaning job now, a bit more precise. We made the kick drum sounding proper. Okay, we have the breakbeat here. I see the first stems. I'm shipping around it constantly. Okay, we have this part here. First listen, I felt like the shakers are a bit too sharp, so let's have the EQ on. I'm not sure if it was these shakers actually. Is there any? Oh, there are two shakers. I would always have shakers next to each other, shakers, rides, hi-hats next to each other, and there's a top loop, and I prefer to use the beautiful colors Ableton. Oh yeah, that's a nice green. Yeah, I have those elements next to each other just to see what's going on. See, the sharpiness comes from that here. Yeah, here. 3 dB. I want it smooth. I just have these 3 elements here, and I already have this woody. Okay, it's within the shaker. It's a loop, and it has this woody things here. This noisy stuff going on. And when I was listening into through the track the first time, I felt it sounds a bit too, yeah, wacky. I would like to reduce it. It's fighting a little bit with the congas. So I would rename it a little bit, because shaker and wood loop. Just that I know what's going on. And then I'm finding, there's another head loop. This should be green. It should be part of another green. Should be part of my green crew here. So now I decide to take this shaker more close here to my per group, because okay, pretty much the same blue here. Assigning the track color to all of them. This perk loop has shakers within as well. So I went through all of this, and of course I like to have like shakers, hi-hat, rights, cymbals here in a group. And then I would like to have like congas, whatever-ish percussive instruments in that group having the same frequency spectrum. And then I would like to have like whatever in that group. When it comes to loops, then I'm always having, or mostly or often, I'm having a lot of different elements within one loop. This is the case right here. I just discovered that. So my order is a little bit crashed. So I have to go through all of it and then see, okay, this is a per group. Most important, it's more like the congas and bongos. It has a little bit of tambourine as well. It sounds already EQ'd. This perk loop has congas and bongos as well, but way more high frequencies and stuff is going on. So I have to watch all of this. There's another shaker here which has this shaker, this percussion loop. Starting here, has a lot of nice high frequencies, like brilliant frequencies. I like that. I will play just the kick, and then I will see, okay, when does this start? Is this dominating the track? It is here for let's say a minute, another minute here and here. It's not there the whole time. What other elements are being there all the time? It's the head off here. This is important. This should sound proper from the beginning until the end. And then my favorite loop, they are not distracting each other. The off hi-hat is maybe a little bit too sharp. Could be a bit more relaxed to not distract the nice little percussion loop there. No? Now it's touching this a bit. Now it's more in the background, more like, hey, let this percussion guy do his or her job. Okay, what else is going on? The kick is going at this time. It's this hi-hat loop. Okay, this one is very important too because it's there most of the time in the track as well. At the moment I feel it's a bit too harsh in a way. Just keeping down the volume a little bit. Sometimes it's just balancing and not EQing. Okay. What else? Shaker. Oh yeah, there's this shaker wood loop. You hear that some kind of rim within. There's a lot. Let's analyze this. Do I need this rim here? Playing the reference track. No, not the reference, the unmixed track. This rim plays a role. I better not like EQ it down. You hear that when I'm pushing it? I should be aware of the fact that it's needed. So when I'm EQing, I always have to make these decisions. You know, it's always like cleaning stuff, making space, but sometimes you're getting rid of stuff you need when you hear the whole ensemble, and there is some sensitivity needed. Okay, what else? Going back to our percussion loop, the shaker loop. Getting off a little bit of, like, just not even 2 dB in that range. Everything needs to sound glued together, so we are not like, oh, there's this loop, there's this shaker, so everything sounds like separated. Everything should become one thing, and that's what when I'm listening to. Now when I'm pushing this here, then okay, now it's standing out, and I try to reduce it a little until it is finding its position. There's a top loop. It has a very strong donk donk sound, potentially too loud. You know, it's communicating with these other Congo and bongo guys. You know, they playing the shit, and it should be like in the same level spectrum. Yeah, that's better. Okay. This is the lower percussion loop. This has this very own like frequency band. It's just checking what's going on. Default low cut. Trying to find the moment when it starts being important, like this frequency, 150 Hertz. Okay, we step to the next position in the track where we have this hi-hat, switching the hi-hat on. Yeah, I think it's still a bit too loud, maybe. There's another offbeat hi-hat here, which was there standing the longest. I like the balance. And then there's a right. And another shaker. I can hear it. I can't hear it. Switching on. Rarely. barely. There it is. So now everything seems to be balanced. Let's bring on the kick drum. There's still a bit like this sound, which I think comes from, yeah, that for my feeling it's a bit too distractive. Somewhere here I already here. But this wooden rim sound is the same frequency, so I have to make a decision which is in between killing the rim, pushing this unprecise, noisy, I don't know, sound. It's the EQ switched off now, but now you can hear it's very opulent, being like I'm someone being in the middle doing a sound which is not really, with the EQ it's way better. A/B time. For first listen, the hi-hat, which was too sharp, which was standing out, which was one of my first impressions, it's okay. A/B. Mixed. Nothing is really standing out. It's a little bit like the breakbeat is a bit overwhelming everything. So let's let's check the breakbeat. Yeah, some more. Some more perk loops, having more hi-hats and more rides and more. It gets more and more and more. So potentially, I would try to get would analyze if I can get rid of some like this hi-hat frequencies. The EQ always you can, you know, change this this level of EQing here with this like an octave, like how strong it is. It's like brick wall, means like straight through the wall, or if it's more like this. You will have phasing issues the more radical it is, so you always try to be somewhere in the middle depending on what you want to do. So I just reduced a little bit of high frequencies here because I do not need all this another more like high, because we have a lot of hi-hats already. And it's it's just creating more chaos. The breakbeat is more on this snare and kick side of the loop. See here, I do not need these high stuff. Without the EQ, with the EQ. Same with this here. This is actually about the snare. Don't be afraid. I do the same high cut. There's a lot of high frequencies already here. We do not need this within the breakbeat. I felt that the breakbeat overall is a bit too loud. Bringing it down, bring it up. I would like to do a little group out of just the breakbeat elements here to make like I show you one EQ which I like pretty much is the Mark EQ. This is good for reducing or pushing high frequencies. It has this special like air band here which is just pushing, it's like a high pass, but it's pushing high frequencies up to 40 Hertz, like way more than you hear. But when this like co-shaft goes up, it's pushing something in the high end which other EQs are not really pushing. We don't need to push anything here, just show you. We more reducing because sometimes the Pro Q is less good when it comes to reducing high or low frequencies. I like the Mark more, and so I created this group. But still, sweeping through the break loop and trying to detect what frequencies we need and what not. Yeah, I think it still sounds very, very, very busy, but when I was listening to this loop for 20 minutes now, my ears are dead. So I would do the next step and will try to sort the stereo of my instruments. and do some more EQing on them. But I will do a little break, because breaks are very important. Every 20 minutes, best case. Every hour, okay. Every 2 days, that's not enough. So now let's go through the instruments and see what's going on. I'm choosing a part which is pretty busy. So there are two parts. There's this part where I have all this violin synth, and this is kind of peak time. I think this is best because this is containing quite everything. That's nice for mixing. Unfortunately it's the break, but whatever. So switching off most of the elements. Here when I need to check this waveform, because that looks not so good. I don't want that through the roof situation, and I'm reducing it to plus 2 dB. I'm having in mind I was reducing them by 8 dB. Yeah, so I might need to raise it with 8 dB as well to 16 here, so roundabout. I mean, Ableton gives you enough headroom that there's no problem like sound-wise, but I want to have here everything under control. What we have here is some kind of like a flute. No, I don't want the drums right now. I just want to listen to all the melodic elements. Where's my main element? I need the main element here, the melody. This is a pretty stereo thing. I think I would keep it stereo, and I would even push it a little bit stereo. I used all the time the utility widener, like to make it more sounding stereo. There's like this ping pong delay on, so when I'm pushing it to the sides it will even more open up. Let's try. It's the most important element here. This needs the most focus and care of. So I'm using this BX stereo tool, which is basically doing the same shit as the utility wide. It's pushing the stereo and it starts sounding a bit louder. I mean, I love it, but be careful. You know, if it put it radical, it's creating like crazy mids in the sides, which has to be removed right afterwards. And this is just too much, you know? When this element is white, then something else should be in the middle, and I'm not sure it is the right if it's the right decision. Yeah, at the moment it's still a lot of like mid information. Just the delay goes. We need to reduce bass side information. We do this with another Pro Q. The Pro Q has a very comfortable side option here. You can pick what to EQ. Just picking the sides here, having a low shelf. Low shelf and make it 30 dB per octave. So we do not have too much low frequencies in the sides. We need to pick a loud moment here. It's very dynamic. So now you have just this more high delay ping pong effect. It creates a room, a nice room. It opens up a little bit. Let's have it without. Yeah, it's somehow an artistic step. So we have this flute here. This is far out. I think this is already pushed in the sides. Oh yeah, it has a lot of like low stuff going on here. Let's cut this off. Even here these frequencies seem a bit too loud, obviously. Just checking here, what exactly am I reducing? It's this tone. The EQ can be a music instrument. When you start pushing a few frequencies, you bring in a tone more here, more obvious. And this tone is very important, but it needs to have the right loudness. When a piano player is playing everything perfect, everything should have the right loudness. In electronic music, when you sometimes set things here and there, the velocity can be too much, the whatever can be too much and low. Sometimes then it's part of the mixing as well to make a musical decision to set the amplitude of a certain tone. That's why I'm very shy doing it, because I respect the artist. But on the other hand, sometimes it's out of focus for the artist, and the artist is thankful that I am doing these little adjustments. Sometimes she or he is going to kill me. I like this overall. There's maybe a little bit too much mids overall still in this. Oh, not another EQ. Not another EQ. I reduced, so I'm pushing it a little bit again. The vocals, they should be right in the middle actually, because they are answering those instrument vocals. I put them in their own group. They already sound pretty mono. Call me crazy, but I'm pushing the vocals with my favorite compressor. I do this again with 1176. I'm wondering where I put the the utility on the wrong channel. If a sample is sounding stereo, you can test if you do the width here and nothing happens, then it's a stereo file, but it is sounding mono because there are no side information. It's good, I like it like this. Those pads, they're pretty much in the sides right now, and maybe they're a bit crashing, with my pushed main instrument. Let's see where this high... it's this drone, I guess. No, it's not. I'm just trying to find those high pads. Yeah. The Pro Q gives me... Here's my setting already. I will do another Pro Q to show you. The ability here to just push certain frequencies to the sides. So here, this is the side information, and now it's just bringing the high frequencies to the sides. Now more the mids. To make it more radical, I use the BX stereo tool again. I'm just crashing it. I mean, I'm just sending it to the moon. And every mono switch will destroy my vision here. But you know, now these high pads are so far away here. Now the vocals are straight in the middle. I think I spread the whole room a little bit. I mean, it's... I would say it's not classic, but let's enjoy it for a moment. Maybe I need to change it back. Here I have this little pad. Do you remember in the beginning when I was trying to get rid of these crazy resonances? This is pretty in the stereo. I want it in the middle now. I do not want it. I think it's not so important that I need to have it like spread out and messing around with my beauty pads and my melody ping pong. So I want it in the middle. Behind the vocals. Vocals are here then. I will compress the vocal a lot here. The vocals having a little bit of harsh moment. On a very high band. Same with the pads. Let's see if I can spot it. Yeah, it's here. It has this. Try to it's at 12 kilohertz. It's this classic when you want to have something sounding brilliant, then just squeeze it out at 12 kilohertz. And in this case it started to sound a bit uncomfortable for my